Hello there everyone, it's Carol from the Crafty Emporium. I was just sat having a brew, as you do first thing on a morning, and I thought to myself, right, I'm going to come and do a quick video because I just want to show you some of this that's mingling around in my head at the moment, and I'm actually going to set it up as a challenge on my Facebook group. Now, we have just done a Franken page swap, and I wanted to come on to show these that I made after watching Nick the Booksmith's video on YouTube showing how to do these. Now, I made a big mistake when I did mine. It was when I was poorly and I was laid up in bed and I started going, you know that massive scrap bag that I've got? Yeah, well, I started going through that and I started making my Franken pages, and I was really quite chuffed. But then I got a little bit too excited and I did it on the back. Now, the problem that I've got is that I can't really do much stitching on it, because whatever I stitch on this side is going to show through on this side, and it just might not necessarily match up, but it might look a little bit, whoa, what's going on there, crazy lady? So I'm not quite sure what to do with these yet. I might make them into a journal cover, because then at least I've got the inside and the outside. Might not do any stitching on them, might do some stamping on them instead. I'm sure I'll think of something along the way. But I also did the same with this one. Went and stuck it on both sides and was a bit like, oh heck, now I can't do any sewing on it. Anyway, subsequently I went on to do another piece, which I then used on the front cover of this book. Put them to one side, put you under there. And so I did this Franken page, and then I ripped it out and put it on the front of my book. Added buttons to it, lace. I added the Tim Holtz ladies. I like the way she's resting on the button. Put some flowers on there because I think it looks as though they're sat on a bit of a bench. So they've got some flowers growing around the feet. Put some stickles on. Left some of the threads hanging. I used my Tim Holtz Distress. The tub of, oh heck, hang on a minute, I'm gonna have to get it because I forgot where it's, stain, Distress stain. I'll get it anyway, then I can show you if I can remember where I put it. Yeah, there it is. So instead of using gesso, I just went on and put some Tim Holtz Distress stain on it, and in fact you can see it probably here. So that's the black version, that was the white version, and then I went and put some distress stain over the top of it, and put some on here as well. So I just sort of, you know, literally daubed it all over. Anyway, the reason that I want to show you this is that sometimes, and I love doing tutorials and I love making stuff up and seeing stuff and going like, oh, I know what that will come in handy for. Just occasionally, I just want to sit and mindlessly play. You know, when I haven't got to think about, can I do a tutorial on this? Can I do this? Can I do that? You know, I haven't got to think work-wise on it. I just want to sit and create. And so what I've decided with this particular book, because it's got this cover on it, I'm going to make this into now the Americans call it a glue book. It's a little bit like our old-fashioned UK, as kids we used to do this a lot, scrapbook, where you cut pictures out and stick them in a book, but you do it a little bit more creatively, I suppose. So it's a glue book / scrapbook. That's what it's going to be. Now, I use this book quite a lot for writing notes in, and I ended up ripping out loads of pages, but I like the paper because it's like this craft colour. But I thought, wouldn't it make a lovely glue book? So the challenge that I'm going to set up on my Facebook group is to do it as you creating your own glue book, and I'm going to give you some prompts over the coming weeks, maybe once a week, that you can then decorate a page relating to that specific topic. All right, now on the back of that, I just wanted to show you a couple of things, because again, I start these, this is my mindless playing. So when I went to visit Mum recently, I found this book in the charity shop for £1.50, and there were some really great images in here. I really liked it. Lots of pictorial things in there, not just photographs but drawings as well, but also little sayings as well, which I thought was quite nice. So I sat whilst I was at my mum's and I cut all these out. There's loads of them. Now, I'm actually not a great lover of birds. It's not my thing, but there was just loads and loads of images in there. So I thought to myself, I could use some of these in my glue book. So I could actually go through and pick out some of the better ones, because there is no way on God's earth I am ever going to use all of those. And you never know, I might eventually put some packs together. So that was number one, was start to look through books and cut out pictures and images and sayings and words. Then I also went through, can you imagine the state of my house with all of this in? Then I started to go through all my other magazines, and look, I've got some cards and where I've stuck some napkins onto book pages. And there was two things I wanted to show you in here. Sometimes you just come across images that you're like, I like that. As an image, I like it. So there you go, there's one. As an image, I like it. I probably won't ever use that in a journal. I might use this bit in a fairy journal maybe, or I don't know. Just, I save these things because I think that they might come in handy at some point. And then I had another book that had these in, which I thought were really pretty. Oh, have them the right way up, that might help. Really pretty. Not sure if I'd use them in a journal, but I like them, so they might end up in a glue book. Then I found this crazy image. And in fact, I had 2 copies of this magazine, so I actually ripped out both. And I thought to myself at the time, oh, steampunk journal, that would look good in a steampunk. But it's such a big image that I'm not quite sure if I'll use it. But, you know, I've got it if I need it. Or I've got it if I remember that I've got it and where it is. But these are, again, things that I thought I could put into a glue book. Now, again, this was another image from a magazine that I thought to myself, you know, it's a fairly big face that I can cover with other things. So I could cut out lips from another image and stick those on top. You know, unusual eyes to make it look a little bit different. Put a hat on a head. You know, all sorts of different things that I could play with. But sometimes I just want to sit and play with stuff like this, and so I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to do that. And I think that setting it up as the challenge on the group, it might force me to do a little bit more with this. Now, as you've seen, you can start to collect loads of stuff. There's more in the other room, far more. And so I was trying to think of a way in which I could store it that I could then go to it quickly. Now, this is a process that I'm still working on at the moment, but I thought it might give you an idea of what you could do. Now, one of the things that I did find in a charity shop, there was a box with 4 or 5 of these photo albums in. And I thought at first that I could store my ephemera in here that I've printed off and cut out. But actually, when I started using all of these and started putting the multiples in that I'd got, I found that once I'd filled up this one side, I then couldn't utilise this side. But I did think, because the glue book is is thinner paper because it's from magazines, and because there's not going to be 10 to 15 of everything, I could actually maybe store those bits and pieces in these pockets. So I could make, because there's 4 or 5 in this box, so that I could then add, maybe do this one as the bird book, do the next one as a heart book or a red book, or, you know, sort of slot them into specific things. So then when I'm wanting to glue stuff into my glue book / scrapbook, I know which journal I want to look in to find the images that I want to utilise within this. Then there was an actual photo album with this set as well. So then I started to go through, and I've only done a couple of pages, but it's almost created its own scrapbook, because let's see if I can try and show you this. So on this page, you know, it's one of those that you lift up the plastic film, and this is slightly tacky, so that when you put things in, your photographs in, they'll stick. So on here I've got clocks and cake tins and little pictures that I just saw. And then on this one I've got some doilies, some animals, some birds. On this one, can you see, I've got some harvest mice and a Bambi. Got a Bambi. Little gorgeous picture that I cut out of a magazine. Love these little photo frames with a picture of a doorway in it. This one, I started going through all my cross-stitch magazines and cutting out images of charts and from adverts, the pictures that they've stitched up. Love this with the array of colours from the embroidery threads. Some more pictures from my cross-stitch magazines, and I thought, well, actually this might be another way of storing all of those things, but again putting them in a semblance of order, because these books you tend to find in charity shops being sold off really cheap, because no one stores their photographs anymore like this, because they tend to keep them on the computer and stuff. And so I thought that this might be an ideal way for me to store the images, so that when I come to wanting a picture to stick in my glue book, then I've got an image that I can find easily, and especially if I've sectioned each of the pages to a specific topic or a specific colour. That was as far as I got. Look, isn't that lovely, that picture? That's sunset. Is that sunset or sunrise? Anyway, but look at that one. I love the way they've decorated the wall in the house with all these pictures, but I could cut those up as little individual images, and I could use those actually in a journal. So just another couple of storage ideas, I suppose. Letting you know that I'm wanting to spend a little bit of time playing. Telling you that I'm going to set this up as a challenge on my Facebook group, and showing you something that you can do with Franken Pages. Whew. Bit of a multi-video this one, isn't it? Yeah, that's my thought processes for the morning, just whilst I was sat having a brew. Okay, I'm going to leave you with all those thoughts now. I'm going to go back to my brew, which will no doubt be cold now. Yes, I really like this. Okay, I'm going now. Just thought I'd come on and share. See you all later. Try a bit.